Welcome to the session of health and disease. Now in this session we are continuing the further parts. So as we have came across various different types of definitions, started with the active immunity, passive immunity. So we are going to continue the next part of it. Now as we have came across the process of immunity, our immune system is strong enough to fight with all the antigens or the pathogens. Now in the active immunity, this type of active immunity we will get it only after the birth, when we are exposed to potential harmful environmental condition. Now if any pathogen or any protein substances outside the body, if it enters, invades our body will generate the antibodies against this, which is said to be active immunity. And passive is nothing but directly if the ready-made antibodies enters into our body, we call such type of immunity as passive immunity. Now here we are going to discuss its next part. Next part is vaccination and immunization. So almost the meaning is same only, vaccination as well as immunization. Okay, as you are very familiar with the term called as vaccination, or we also call this as immunization also. Now whether it is a vaccination or immunization, the process are same only. So what is same here in the vaccination or immunization? In the vaccination, so as we are coming across the COVID-19 vaccine, either it is a Covaxin, Covishield, Sputnik, so irrespective of this, so different types of vaccines are there, and these vaccines are given against the antigen, and the antigen is nothing but it is a virus only. Okay, against the virus we have produced, we have manufactured this vaccine. Okay, now in the vaccination what we are going to do, and who was the first person who did vaccination, and he is regarded as father of vaccination also. His name is Edward Jenner, also said as father of vaccination. Okay, now in the vaccination, so let's look at the definition of the vaccination. Here we are introducing, or here we are injecting what? The weak or inactivated pathogens. Weakened or inactivated pathogens into the body. This is said to be vaccination. So vaccination is a process of introduction of either weakened, inactivated, or even dead also. Okay, so even dead also. So weakened or inactivated pathogens, or dead also even. Okay, as we are doing it in the Covaxin. Okay, so Covaxin we are introducing the dead virus. Now whether it is dead or alive, irrespective of that, when these are injected into our body, when the vaccination is done, our immune system will get activated in such a way that it will produce antibodies, and these antibodies tries to attack these antigens or pathogens. They are dead, but still our body, our immune system, it shows the response, and it is a primary response. And our intention during vaccination is we have to generate our antibodies in such a way that, suppose if we get the active or a live virus into our body for the second time, then our body does not get so weak for the second time, because we have many army proteins, our immunoglobulins, our antibodies, which are ready to attack and kill this live virus. Understood? So this I am taking an example, but not only with respect to the virus, with respect to other pathogens also we are producing the vaccines. Like we have the vaccines for polio vaccination is there, hepatitis B vaccination is there, okay. Then DPT vaccination is there, diphtheria, pertussis, tuberculosis vaccinations. So different types of vaccinations are there which already you have taken in your childhood, okay. So now also we are taking the vaccination against the COVID, okay. So this is what is said to be vaccination, and the father of the vaccination is Edward Jenner, okay. Now what is immunization? Now vaccination is for immunization only. That means after vaccination our immune system is generated in such a way that most of the antibodies are produced, and such process of production of the antibody is said to be immunization, okay. So that's why both are more or less the same terms only, vaccination as well as immunization. Now let us go for the immunization here. Now as these two will give the similar meaning. So here immunization, it is a process in which a person is made immune or resistant to infectious disease. A person is made immune or resistant to disease, okay. So the meaning, both the meaning will give the same thing only. So vaccination or immunization, so the vaccination is for the immunization only, okay. So vaccination is nothing but introduction of the weakened, inactivated or dead pathogens, where we also call this as vaccine, into the body. The process is said to be vaccination. And immunization is nothing but it is a process where the antibodies are produced after vaccination, okay. So that's why it is a process in which a person is made immune or resistant to a particular type of disease, okay, towards a particular type of pathogen, right. So this is regarding the two terms, and as I told you, the father of vaccination, Edward Jenner, who has did the vaccine against cowpox virus. Then let's go to one more term, passive immunization. We have one more term called as a passive immunization. Now passive immunization is nothing but if the antibodies are directly injected into the body against certain antigens like the snake venoms, then such type of immunization is said to be passive immunization. So injecting antibodies against snake venom, this type of immunization is said to be passive immunization, because this has been, we are going according to the NCERT only. So during the snake bite, anti-snake venom injections are given, where the antibodies are made ready-made, so that these ready-made antibodies, when they are injected into the body directly into the blood, ultimately they will attack these antigens, protein molecules, the poisonous molecules, and they are going to neutralize it, okay, neutralize its effect. So passive immunization is nothing but injecting the antibodies directly into the body, so that the pathogen can be controlled very easily. So such type of immunization is said to be passive immunization. So injecting antibodies against the snake venom, what we are going to do, this is one example, understood, this is one example. I am going according to the NCERT only, but in general way, how can we define? Passive immunization is a process of injecting antibodies into the body, over. This is the definition. This is only particular to the snake venom. Venom injections, anti-venom injections are nothing but they are the antibodies which are produced and prepared in the laboratory, okay. So this is regarding the introductory part of it. So with this, let's move on to the next part, allergies, and there we have the definition of it, and it's a common term that you come across in your day-to-day life, okay, where few persons will be allergic to certain substances. Okay, so it's a common term that we use it, allergies. The question comes, what is allergy? It's a common term. ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತೀರಿ ನನಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ, ಡಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ, ದೆನ್ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಾಮ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಫುಡ್ಸ್, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಫುಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ, ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ, ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಅಲರ್ಜಿನ ನಾವು ಡಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಡವಾದದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಆಗಿ ಬರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ಓಕೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಕಾಮನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಅಲರ್ಜಿಕ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಫುಡ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಅಲರ್ಜಿಕ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫುಡ್. ಅಲರ್ಜಿಕ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇಡವಾದದ್ದು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಅದು ನಾವು ಸೇವನೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಈಟ್ ಇಟ್, ಅವರ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಶೋ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಸಿಮ್ಟಮ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಎಸ್ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ. ನನಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲರ್ಜಿ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ಓಕೆ, so allergy is, it is an exaggerated response towards certain substances. This is said to be allergy, and the substances that causes allergy are called as allergens. They are called as allergens. What are allergens? The substances that causes allergy, they are called as allergens. It's an objective question which will be asked. Then let's go to the cause for the allergy. The cause for the allergy is dust, pollen grains, animal dander, etc. Okay, what are the symptoms? Symptoms includes sneezing, coughing, running nose, watery eyes, okay, so look at the symptoms here. Almost we find all these different types of symptoms along with difficulty in breathing, okay. So here we observe the major symptoms for this. Okay, and the chemicals like histamine and serotonin are released from mast cells. So mast cells are present in connective tissue, especially areolar connective tissue, so they are released. So because of that we have to give the treatment in such a way that the histamine as well as serotonin, they should not be produced, they should not be released, and where we are using the drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline and steroids are used to treat this disease, especially the allergic disease. So they quickly reduce the symptoms. Okay. Now, when we come across this part allergy, allergy is nothing but it is an exaggerated response. Exaggerated means sudden response towards certain substances, towards certain external substances. Now, whenever we visit for different places, tourism, when we go for the tour, if you go to Ooty, Shimla, Darjeeling, then what will happen? Their climate will be cool, wind will be blowing, so there will be a breeze also. So suddenly you start to cough or sneeze, and watery eyes will be there, running nose will be there due to unknown reasons. It is said to be allergy. That means you are allergic to cold. Okay, it's an cold allergy. And the substances that causes allergy, we call it as allergens. And these allergens may be, what are these allergens? It might be the dust particle, it might be the pollen grain, it might be the dust of the animal dander. Okay, so dust, most of the persons are having dust allergy. Even teachers will also suffer with the dust allergy when they use the chalk piece. We are not using chalk piece, but presently we are using pen. But this pen consists of a chemical which has a smell, which is dangerous also, which causes respiratory problems. All these are the sort of allergies, and they are the occupational disorders. Okay, well, sometimes we cannot avoid them also. But allergy, initially it will be of low intensity, but later on the allergy, the severity may also increase. Okay. So here the cause is dust, pollen grains. That means flowering season, there will be lot of pollen grains that is released through the wind, and if these pollen grains enters into the respiratory tract, especially the nasal cavity, then ultimately there might be allergy if the person is allergic. It doesn't mean that all are allergic. Few persons are allergic. Okay. Then through the animal dander, if you are maintaining the pet, and if the pet comes and sleeps on your bed, then ultimately by that animal dander or by the animal hair, you may have that allergy. Okay. So that's why these are the cause. So better by which we get allergy, it has to be avoided. Sir, ನೀವು ಬರಿದು ಬಿಡ್ರಿ, ನೀವು ಅಲರ್ಜಿಯಿಂದ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಗ್ತೀರಿ. Okay. So sometimes due to the professional ethics, we can't avoid. Okay. So symptoms, what are the symptoms here? Sneezing is there, coughing is there, running nose, watery eyes, difficulty in breathing. Okay, so all these are various different types of the symptoms that we see commonly in the allergic persons. Then why these symptoms are shown? The chemicals like histamine and serotonin, they are released from the mast cells. So last year you have studied in the tissue system, connective tissue, areolar connective tissue. In the areolar connective tissue, we have mast cells, macrophage cells, all these different types of cells are there, fibroblast cells, all these are there. Now the mast cells, what they do is they secrete histamine and serotonin. These are the chemicals. These chemicals will dilate the mucous membrane which are present in the respiratory tract, leading to sneezing and running nose. Okay. Now what has to be done? These chemicals which are released, which are very allergic, as it is showing the allergic reaction, it has to be stopped, it has to be prevented. Okay, that means the chemical should not be produced. So for that purpose, we are giving tablets or injections in the form of antihistamine. So antihistamine drugs or tablets are given, adrenaline drugs, steroid, either drugs means tablets, or in the form of injection they are given. But steroids, it is having a little bit negative impact, as we have the negative impact in case of the COVID patients also. For the COVID patients, for the treatment of this virus, we are giving steroids, but that steroid is showing the negative effect where the immune system gets lowered, and by that process what will happen? We are getting other type of fungal disease like the black fungus. Okay. So that's why some of the negative impacts will also be there, right? Now what is the thing here? Better avoid all the things by which you get allergy. So that's why if you go to any unknown place, so presently we are using mask will protect lot of things. So it prevents the dust also, it prevents the pollen grains also, so by which allergy can be avoided, right? So this is regarding the process of allergy. Okay. Then apart from this, in the next part we have autoimmunity. Now autoimmunity is a condition where our own antibodies will attack our host cells, our body cells. Why it occurs we do not know. Due to genetic and unknown factors, autoimmunity is caused, by which a person will be suffering with autoimmune diseases. Okay, so there is no treatment for this. Only the thing is we are only giving injections, painkiller injections like morphine injections, but nothing will happen for this patient. That means for this, once if the person gets autoimmune disease, then ultimately it will be there with him till he dies. Understood? And the reason is idiopathy. Idiopathy means unknown reason. We don't know in the medical science why this will occur. So doctor will give you a long list. So by these factors you will get the disease, but out of that one might be the cause. Okay. So mainly genetic and unknown factors, due to unknown reasons, autoimmune disease is caused. So what is autoimmunity? Auto means self, immunity means our own defense mechanism. Instead of identifying the pathogens, they will kill our body cells. This is because they lose the ability to recognize self and non-self cells. Self, non-self. Non-self means antigens, self means our body cells. Okay. So here autoimmunity means the antibodies attacks the host cells. In which they cannot differentiate self and non-self cells, leading to autoimmune disease. Example for this is rheumatoid arthritis. Regarding arthritis, you know it is a joint pain, but rheumatoid arthritis is a severe joint pain. It is a very severe condition, severe joint pain. Okay. So what is the reason for this? It is due to genetic or unknown cause. Okay, what is the reason? We don't know. So rheumatoid arthritis is one of the classical example where it is a severe joint pain. So whenever we get the joint pain, then we have to take the painkiller injection, and once if the autoimmune disease comes to the humans, it will kill you, because there is no treatment for this. Okay, there is no treatment for any of the autoimmune disease, right? So here our antibodies attacks our own cells. This is because they fail to recognize self and non-self cells. They fail to recognize self and non-self cells. As a result, we suffer from a disease or a disorder said to be autoimmune disease, autoimmune disorder. Okay. So this completes the process of autoimmunity. So with this, next we have immune system in the body. So let us look at the immune system in the body. So our immune system is made up of primary lymphoid organs, secondary lymphoid organs. Immune system in the body. We have a good immune system where we come across primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. So here we have bone marrow and thymus. Then secondary lymphoid organs. So here we have examples like tonsils, appendix, lymph nodes, spleen, Peyer's patches of small intestine. Okay. Then apart from that we have one more where we call it as malt, which is called as mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. Okay. So examples for this is it includes respiratory, elementary and urinogenital tract. So 50% of the immunity is by malt. Okay, so let us see what exactly are these. Immune system in our body. So what we have here in the immune system of our body. Now our immune system, it consists of primary lymphoid organs. Primary lymphoid organs are those where the lymphocytes, antibodies are produced, matured. So they include bone marrow as well as the thymus gland. As we know, bone marrow is a major site of production of the lymphocytes, and later on if they get matured in the bone marrow we call them as B cells. If they get matured in the thymus gland we call them as what? T cells, T lymphocytes. Okay. Now thymus gland, initially at the time of the birth, as it is present above the heart, at the time of birth the size is larger. Now in the adults it gets reduced and the size will be the size of a pea, this much, the size of a pea andre water kalasta agtada. As the age goes on proceeding, in the aged people it becomes microscopic and later on it gets degenerated. In the aged persons the thymus gland gets degenerated. As a result their immune system goes on becoming weak. That's why aged people, their immunity will be low, because thymus gland has degenerated. There is no maturation of the T lymphocytes. When there is no maturation of the T lymphocytes, ultimately our body defense mechanism or capability gets reduced. Understood? Okay, so that is the thing. It's a age related disorder. Okay, age related disorder means we call it as apoptosis, programmed cell death, because once if we take the birth, our body, our cells are programmed that they have to live, they have to work for these many days. We are not immortals, we are mortals only. Understood? Okay, so this is thymus gland. So primary lymphoid organs are those in which the lymphocytes are produced, but lymphocytes are not at all stored. Remember this. Primary lymphoid organs are those organs. I have given only examples. Rest of the statement I am just telling you. Okay, you have to refer the NCERT and you have to write. Primary lymphoid organs are those where the lymphocytes are produced and matures, but lymphocytes are not stored. Then where they are stored? These are stored in the secondary lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organs are those in which the lymphocytes are stored, but lymphocytes does not get matured here. They are stored and they become antigen specific here only. So the lymphocytes, they become antigen specific. So they attain antigen specificity only in the secondary lymphoid organs. Okay, why do we require secondary lymphoid organs? Because pathogen entry might be through any part of our body. Either it might be through the injury of the hands, body, legs, whichever, irrespective of this. That's why we require these activated lymphocytes, these activated antibodies at various points, entry points of our body, and they include tonsils. So here we have tonsils. Tonsils will store what? Lymphocytes. Okay, our body defense mechanism. Appendix, so we thought it as a vestigial organ, but it is still functioning. It stores the lymphoid, the lymphocytes. Okay, it's a body defense mechanism. Then lymph nodes. Okay, lymph nodes we have at different points. Okay, now here in the shoulder joint, in the ankle joint, okay, in the knee joint. So in all the points we are having. So look at the diagram which is given in your NCERT for the lymph nodes. So we have at different sites here. In the lymph nodes, what are stored? Lymphocytes are stored. Which one? Immature or mature? Mature lymphocytes, because immature lymphocytes cannot identify, cannot detect the antigens. Then spleen is there. Spleen, almost it is present above the stomach, where this spleen, it also stores the lymphocytes. Peyer's patches of the small intestine. In the small intestine we have Peyer's patches, they are the lymph nodes only. Okay. So if the pathogen entry is through any of these route, ultimately the pathogens are killed at these points. So secondary lymphoid organs are those lymphoid organs in which the lymphocytes are stored and they become antigen specific at these points only. Okay. Then apart from this, we have one more called as MALT. MALT is a mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. Mucosal, as we say, mucous membrane. So where mucous membrane is present? Respiratory tract, our alimentary canal, digestive tract. So this alimentary, it can be also called as a digestive tract, alimentary or digestive tract. Then urinogenital tract. So here in the lining of all the three tracts, what is there? Lymphocytes are there, and their chance of entry through this is more only through the nasal cavity, through the oral cavity, through urinogenital system. It is a chance is more, risk is more. That's why here, as the lymphocytes are there, so 50% of the total immunity is given by MALT only. This is an objective question, remember. 50% of the total immunity is provided by these tracts, where we call them as MALT, mucosal associated lymphoid tissues. Okay. So this completes the first half of the chapter. In the next, we have two deadly disease, AIDS and cancer, which we are going to see it in our coming class. So till then, watch our videos regularly, make the notes. Thank you.